Jai Gurudev, Jai Masters. One of the thorniest, stickiest things that people run into on the spiritual path, or really in life itself, is decision-making. People read the books, but they still ask the questions. I have this important decision to make in my life, and I don't know how to make it. How does a spiritual person, a centered person, a clear person, make such decisions? Well, I'm going to start by telling you, you're not going to like my answer. There's not some traditional way to focus on these things and that therapists and psychologists and philosophers are going to talk to you about, because it's always deeper than that. And if you're willing to go deeper, you'll find out that decisions are not that difficult. They're not, any of them. But you have to be willing to undercut the noise of the mind and the disturbances of the heart. So let's start this way. You claim you have a decision to make. You're having trouble making the decision. On what basis are you trying to make the decision? Because, I was in business and we learned metric management. You just look at the numbers and the numbers talk to you, and you do a cost-benefit analysis and the numbers tell you what the right decision is. And generally, other than unknowns, it generally is your best decision you can make. But life doesn't create decisions like that, not your personal decisions. Should I get married? Should I get divorced? Should I change my jobs? Should I move? What should I do? I said something that disturbed somebody who I really like. Should I apologize? Should I leave it alone? Just all this neurotic kind of stuff that we go through. So how about we talk about that stuff? Fair enough? All right. So you start this way. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your mind. You're going to go to your mind, and you're basically going to ask your mind, what should I do? It's really funny because, you're in there and your mind's in there, and I don't know why, if you knew what to do, you would know what to do. I don't know why your mind's going to tell you what to do that you don't already know, because you're in there. But that's what we do. We go to our mind, like a computer, like a guru, something. What should I do? And the mind jumps around. And it comes up whether you do this. My favorite one is the mind says, oh yes, this is what you should do this. And then tomorrow, oh, I don't know. You like that? That's pretty good, eh? Can we talk about that? Why does that happen? I'm going to jump right in, very deep. So when you go to your mind, which you're welcome to do, when you go to your mind about what I'll call a personal decision, it's not metrics management in business. It's a personal decision. Should I, how you know it's a personal decision? Should I do this? What do I want to do? Will this make me happy? How's that one? Will this turn out good for me? So the first thing that a wise person does, but none of us are wise enough, is to say, your mind is going to give you advice, just like a computer, based on the data it has. It can't know anything other than the data. Your mind picks up data all the time. You've read books, you went to movies, you had experiences. It picks up data every moment of your life. You pick up data. I'm a computer guy. I don't mind if I call it data, because that's what it is, all right? It comes in, and you have this data, and at the simplest level, what your mind is going to do is attempt to put together the data and make a decision. What you'll realize when you really grow deeply is how much data really do you have? Can we have a little talk about that? So I know you've been around the block a few times, but that's one block. How many blocks are there? A lot of blocks, all right? All over the place. There's a lot of blocks, all right? And someday, though, your ego will not let you listen to this. You're going to realize you don't know anything. You literally don't know anything. It's sort of like, I'm a political scientist who's going to predict an election. I know who's going to win. Who? So-and-so. How do you know? I asked someone who they're going to vote for. Asked someone? Yeah. They were sure. So there it is. Now, none of you would buy that. That's ridiculous. That's what you have in your mind. What do you mean? I'm smart. I'm a seasoned person. I've experienced a lot of things. Anytime you have an experience, I agree. If you're really wise and smart and open, you take in what you can learn from that experience. I'm going to ask you something. While you're having that experience, how many experiences are you not having? Because you're not taking that in. But I read books. How many books? Okay, there's a lot of books. And even if you read books, please pay attention to me. Even if you read books, during the time you're reading that book, You're not experiencing all the other things there are to experience. It's just the way it is. You're having the experience you're having. Wonderful. But you're not having the 80 billion trillion experiences that are going on at the exact same time. You're not having those experiences, are you? Therefore, what you have inside your mind is nothing. It's statistically insignificant. And I told you, your ego's not going to like this. It literally rounds to zero, doesn't it? How many experiences are going on when you're having that one experience? Everywhere, all over your town, your city, even your house, you know what your kids are doing. Now I ask you a question. If you had had a different experience, would you be different? You know, if your father hadn't told you this when you were little, but told you something else, or when they was talking, you were really on your phone and not listening, your whole life changes. Because your mind did not take in that information. So it's not that the information the mind took in is wrong. It's that it's nothing. It's nothing. It's statistically nothing compared to all the other experiences you could have had at the same time. And I'm not just talking about on Earth. There's Mars and Jupiter. How many things are going on at the same time? Not only do you not have those experiences, but you weigh your experience at 100%. Your mind will sit there and say, no, I already met redheads. I don't go along with redheads. Because in junior high, you dated somebody. Don't kid yourself. Just watch your mind. That's what it does. It gives a total amount of weight to the data it has. You know what? So does a computer. Tell a computer to run a program, an algorithm, with the data it has. It will come up with an answer. They'll run it again. Same answer. Run it again. Same answer. Impress me. Run it 4,000 times. The same algorithm with the same data. Must be right. Got the same answer every time. Change the algorithm, change the data, totally different answers. So it's the same thing with your mind. And I'm just going to go a little slow. I never go slow. But if you don't get this, you're missing something serious. Because this is the truth. All right? You only know the sum of the learned experiences that you had. And that's nothing. I'm not calling you stupid. I'm just asking you honestly, what percentage is the experience you're having at any given moment versus the experiences you're not having? That are just as equal experience. They just mean the same thing. And now you understand why we teach you not to listen to your mind about personal things. Because it thinks it knows something. So there's the starting place on making a decision. Is you discount what your mind has to say. Because it only says that Skinner says that the sum of your learned experiences. But your learned experiences are nothing. And the sum of your learned experiences are meaningless. If what you took in was 0.001% of the data, but you did that each time, you got nothing. And it's true. It sounds funny. It sounds like a parlor game to say that. It's not. A wise person knows not to listen to their mind about personal things. Because the mind is going to say the experience I had is the most important thing there is. But it's not. Because you could have had a different experience. I used to give an analogy, a little story, that you're young, you're with your sister, you're driving with your parents in a car down an expressway, and you're playing and talking in the back seat, and all of a sudden, you happen to look out the window at a given moment because your sister stopped talking to you, and you turned around, you looked in the window, and a terrible accident was taking place, and you saw very damaged bodies, and it was traumatic to you. You know, it just really messed up your life. You're afraid to ride in cars, you don't like bodies, you don't like blood, you got traumatized. Well, what if at that moment your sister said, George, you turned your head. Now your whole life has changed? That's pretty random stuff, isn't it? You're really going to let that determine your life? So the first thing a wise person does is understand the limit of their mind. It only knows what it knows. I trained my mind to do something very different. It's not perfect at it. I'm nothing. But I trained it very young. I was in my 20s. I looked up at a star in the sky, and I said, that could be our sun. And I always give you these numbers. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. As a scientific fact, 1.3 million Earths fit inside your sun. And there are 300 billion stars in your galaxy, and there are 2 trillion galaxies. How many experiences are you having? What percentage of truth is it? And you just understand, whoa. And so I'll sit there, look at one star, imagine this tiny little thing circling around it, and then I look at the rest of the sky, and we don't even see anything. The scientists, I think, tell us that with the human eye, you can see a few thousand stars. There's 300 billion in your galaxy. And you start understanding that you don't know anything. And you get humble with that. It's very freeing. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And you stop going to your mind, asking it to know things it doesn't know. It doesn't know. And there's something very freeing there, to not demand that your mind knows stuff that it doesn't know. How do you know that your mind doesn't know? Because it keeps changing its mind. If the mind knows, it will say, okay, this is it. There it is. And it will stay there. Good. Well, that's nice. Then there's no decision. It's getting made for you. There it is. It's obvious. But the mind doesn't do that. Okay. So now let's go a little deeper as to why the mind does what it does. One, because it's not willing to admit that it doesn't know. A wise person admits they don't know. Isn't that beautiful? You know, I remember when we learned that in business, not in business school, but in business, that it was fine to say, I don't know. And the traditional business people, no, you don't say you don't know. You're supposed to know everything. No, that's not true. People respect you if you sit there and admit, well, I don't know, let's work it out. So it's the same thing with your personal decisions. Be willing to admit that you don't know. So that's the first way you make a decision, is you be willing to honestly look at yourself and say, I don't know. And you're going to get very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. Because if I don't know, then how do I know what to do? Well, we'll talk about it. Because there's a deeper way of knowing than the noise that the mind makes with it jumping around. So the second thing is, why does the mind do what it does? You know why sometimes you go to a store? I don't, of course, because I wear the same clothes. But some of you go to stores and you buy suits and dresses and different nice things. And there's this 16-sided mirror, and you get up on that platform. Why are you doing that? You know if it fits or not, you put it on. Does it fit the cold or hot of the season? That's not what you're looking at. You get up there on that platform, you turn around, and you're trying to see how it feels. Does this feel right? Does it make me feel good about myself? Does it turn me on? Or it's like, no. You're trying to get that kind of a reaction. Well, what is that reaction? Why does one garment or car or anything, why does it make you feel good and the other make you feel bad? Now we're going to go much deeper. You have inside of you the ability to always feel good. Always. Just be filled with love, filled with joy, filled with clarity and beauty, and everything's fine. We'll go back to that in a minute. That is inside of you. There's a place inside of you that's always like that. The problem is, and I'm going to go real fast in these teachings, over the course of your life, every one of you, you've had experiences that were difficult to handle. Something happened. It came in, and it wasn't nice. What did you do with it? You pushed it away. That's what you do with experience. If something's coming at you, you defend yourself. So somebody said something not nice to you. You had a bad divorce. You got in an accident. Something happened. Lots of things happened, didn't they? And they came in, either big or small. They weren't comfortable. And what you tried to do was protect yourself. You in there tried to protect yourself from them by pushing them away. That's typical Freudian suppression and repression. And suppression, repression are psychological terms. I don't want to use those. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, all right? I use the word resistance. Those are just different degrees of resistance. You resist. I can't believe you said that. How could you say that to me? After all we've been through together? There we go. That's called resistance, isn't it? I don't want to experience this. So you push it away inside. Every single thing that you ever pushed away is still in there. Now that's typical psychology. All the therapists, all the study of psychology, that study, as Freud started it, said, you had trouble with your mother, you had trouble with this, you had trouble with that, and you suppressed it, and that's why you're behaving the way that you do. All right? That is why you feel comfortable wearing one piece of clothing and not another. You have this stuff in there that you stored. You stored everything that ever bothered you inside of you. And so now you put on a suit and it reminds you of your father, and you didn't like your father. Put on a suit that reminds you of your father, you loved your father. That is why it feels good. Because the energy inside of you that's always there is blocked by all this stuff you stored in there. That's why a typical Freudian therapy, Freud sat there and would go through therapy and getting suppressed things out. And sometimes people would have this amazing experience that they released something that was stored down there, and they couldn't sleep for days. They were so filled with energy. That's why. Yoga explains all of that. There is this energy inside of you. Call it whatever you want. Shakti, chi, spirit, energy. I don't care. It's inside, but it's blocked. It's blocked by this stuff you stored in there. So if you manage to go through a major psychological breakthrough and you release some of that, then all kinds of energy can come up. Don't worry, it won't stay. The next one will come up. Next block. So that is actually what's happening when you stand there on that platform and turn around and see how this makes you feel. If it hit a blockage, yoga will call them some scars, if it hit a blockage that you stored in there, but it was a positive one, all of a sudden you're going to feel good about it. If it hit a negative one, like if you got a whole thing about looking a little heavy, anything you put on, no, it makes me look heavy. Don't blush. Can we talk honestly? Isn't that what goes on? That's what's happening. It is the same thing that's happening when your mind tries to make a decision. You're actually trying on the thought, well, if I get married, then we can have children, and I've always wanted to have children. And all of a sudden, this nice energy starts feeling inside. It's hitting your samskaras. It's hitting the blockages. My mother always wanted to have grandchildren. She'd be so happy. And just every thought you have is either opening you or closing you. And then you try to make your decision based on that. Instead of just making a decision based on you think you know something intellectually, now I'm coming down to the heart. Some people say, follow your heart. Be careful what heart you're following. You can't just say that, follow your heart. Hearts have caused all kinds of problems. But why? If something is blocked, that is blocking the opening of your heart, that's blocking your energy flow, and something in the world or your thought patterns cause it to open, then it will feel right. But that's only because the blockage was there. It doesn't mean it is right. It doesn't mean anything. Just like I showed you, you can't trust your mind's data because it's nothing. It's just the data that happened to pick up at that moment. It could have picked up anything. And now we're sitting here saying you can't trust how your heart necessarily feels because it is based upon whether these blockages that you have, whether the event, the person, the place, the thing, the clothes, the thought pattern hit those blockages so that they opened. It was good. It was a positive thing. Oh my God, my mother was so proud of me. She's dead now and I look so good this way. Or if I move, she used to live in Connecticut. And so what are you doing making decisions based on that garbage? That's not a basis for a decision. Oh, it is because I felt so of course you felt wonderful because it hit a blockage that opened up because it was a positive thing. It would do the same thing, it was negative. And where you have trouble making decisions is, okay, your mother grew up in Austria, and you want to go there because it's your home, but then Hitler lived there. He took, I don't know what to do. And next thing you know, you're torn to pieces because all you're doing is reacting to the fact that you have blockages in different areas. Even a thought can cause it to change, can it? A thought can change your heart. It can change the openness or closeness of your heart. If you follow that, you're only following your blockages. That is not really what it means to follow your heart. There's a deeper heart than the one that feels open just because something hit you right. Oh, it hit me just right. I'm not impressed. What I'm impressed with is you ask the following question. What would it be like in here if I didn't have these blockages? What if I evolved enough, and that's the right word, to where I could handle life? And if a given situation took place, I was able to embrace it, learn from it, and let it go. Not resist it and keep it in there for the rest of my life. What if I did that? I'm telling you what would happen if you did that. There would be no blockages, and you would feel overwhelming love and joy and well-being and inspiration all the time. You'd never get burned out. I'm sorry to tell you, that's inside of you, all right? If you can feel love because of a different situation took place, but it's inside, love is inside, inspiration's inside, joy is inside, happiness is inside, isn't it? Then what are you doing saying that the outside has to be a certain way for me to feel that? The reason you got that way, and don't worry, we're all that way, is that we've stored these blockages. Here, I store all these blockages. My favorite thing, if somebody says, ever since I was little, this is what I wanted to do. Well, how? Well, my sister had a problem with this, and I got to help a little bit, and I want to grow up to something. That's just an impression that could have been anything else that got left in you, and now if something hits it right, you open up. A yogi, a deep person, somebody who's living the depth of life, looks at this and says, I don't want my current state of being to be limited to what I stored in there from my past. It was just an experience. If I had a different experience, I would feel differently. If you don't store that stuff inside of you, what do you mean? You don't resist it. Well, how do you not resist it? We'll talk about it, but I can guarantee you, you are completely capable of handling life. You're completely capable of handling every single, your divorce, your marriage, your this, a death, a that, changing jobs and it didn't work out, changing jobs, it did work out. These are just experiences that happen in your life. They make up your life, and you experience them, you grow from them, and you let them go. They don't get stored inside of you. You have memory, you still have memory, but they're not stored as blockages. and then they don't block your energy, and then you're always open. That's what it means to be a high being, a clear being. Is you're open. It's not that things don't turn you on, it's that everything turns you on. Now let's talk about how difficult is decision making if you're so high that you've already been through your life and experienced that everything turns you on. Everything turns you on. You sat there and you played a sport and you were doing good for a while and then you sucked. And that was fun. It was fun. It was fun seeing somebody else who's better. It was fun learning from them. You try to play the piano. You get to a certain stage and you just can't get any better. Your fingers aren't long enough, whatever. Your coordination's not good. And that's fun. Then you enjoy trying to play and you enjoy somebody else playing better. It doesn't have to be rejection. It doesn't have to be a sense of self-consciousness you didn't do well. You can be happy all the time. How? By not making yourself unhappy. There's a natural state inside of you where life is fun. Life is full of experiences. What if it's a difficult experience? Then you enjoy the pain that your heart feels because someone you love left you. What do you mean you enjoy the pain? It's an experience. It's like you can enjoy the experiences you're going. Not that it doesn't have pain. You just understand it's not going to stay. It's a temporary thing. The heart is capable of feeling loss. The heart is capable of feeling joy. Fine. That's just life. I love my life. I love my experiences. When you can look back at your entire life and say, I wouldn't change a single thing. Why? That's how you learn. It's not this intellectual, I had an experience, so I learned something. If you go through a situation in your heart where there's a loss and you learn to handle it, you extrapolate that out to everything. Now you don't have to be afraid. You're not afraid of life. Bring it on. Hit me with your best shot. That's how you should talk to your heart. Hit me with your best shot. Come on, I want to learn. I want to be a pro. Can you master staying open? Can you master enjoying life? Can you master not carrying the garbage from your past stored inside of you so that it's blocking you? And now you have to find things outside that will open you. We're not playing renunciation. It's not that you don't do that. It's that you're wise enough to understand the reason I need things to be a certain way outside, the right job, the right boss, the right finance, the right this, the right that, is because I'm not okay inside. And these things make me feel better. Good. Go for it. Okay? What you're going to find out is the richest people in the world, whoever was listed number one as the richest person in the world on Forbes, got really disturbed when they were number two. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. You're in love, you find somebody that's wonderful, and then he or she's talking to somebody else. That's where jealousy comes from. In other words, it doesn't solve your problem. Your problem is you're blocked. Yes, something has helped you open. I love it. That's fine. Don't renounce it. But understand why it needed something outside is because you're blocked inside. If you work on not being blocked inside, we'll discuss that in a minute, because you can do it. If you work on not being blocked inside, I'm telling you, and I'm not the first to tell you, that it's beautiful in there. Always. It's just always beautiful, right? In other words, can you handle the situations that life presents to you? At any given moment, it's just the particular situation that happens to be going on in front of you. There are tons of billions of other things going on. This is just the one that on the planet Earth, this tiny planet spinning in the middle of nowhere, is unfolding in front of you. Can you handle it? The day you can sit there and say, I can and I will. I don't care what it takes. I'm not storing the stuff inside of me. I would rather feel the love, the joy, the inspiration all the time, no matter what's going on outside. Then I can bring that to deal with what's going on. Not I'm not okay and I need things to be a certain way for me to be okay. That's why decision making is so hard, because you're trying to figure out what will it be like? What will it feel like? Will it open me? Will it close me if I make this decision? And you're trying to decide which one will make me most open. A spiritual person doesn't have that problem, because a spiritual person is not trying to use these arbitrary situations outside, no matter what they are, to determine how they're doing inside. They understand that if you don't block yourself, you're always okay inside. And so then basically it's not a big deal. You make this decision, make that one. Just make it be the right decision. Have fun. As opposed to, oh my God, I picked the wrong one. And that's what you're afraid of too, is that you tried it on with your mind and it turns out not to be what you thought it was going to be. Now you feel you made there is no wrong decision. There's only a wrong decision if you're not okay and you're trying to figure out what will make you be okay. There, I've said it. If you're not okay and you're trying to make a decision that will make you be okay, there can be a wrong decision. It didn't do it. It didn't turn out that way. The city wasn't good. The job wasn't good. The boss wasn't good. You got fired right after you got hired. You understand that? But if you are okay, and I mean really okay, if you learn to be filled with joy and love, and I call it self-effulgence, your being is vibrating and radiating inside with beauty. Why? Because it's not blocked. That is the natural state of your being, is that flow, that upward flow of well-being. Just like the natural state of your body is health. I've discussed that with you. Doesn't mean people don't get sick, but I guarantee you, if you took all the 7.5 billion people on the earth and took every one of their minutes, 99% of them are healthy. 99% of the minutes people live are healthy. The body knows how to take care of itself. There's 24 trillion cells in there talking to each other, working together to do what? Keep the body healthy. Doesn't mean you can always do it, but that's what it's trying to do. It's the same thing inside yourself. Your natural state of your mind, of your heart, of your energy flow is always up. It's inspiring. You can't wait to get out of bed every single morning. You can't wait to go to work. You can't wait to come home. You're just enthused. What does the Bible say? Lest ye be as little children. That's what it's talking about. These are the teachings, and they are real. You are a great being, but you have blocked yourself by resisting all the stuff you resisted throughout your life, and now it keeps coming back up, and you have to use your mind to make a decision. I'm going to stay on that topic, to make a decision of what you think will happen that will make you feel better. You don't have that problem if you're already feeling good. So that's the answer. They talk about cutting through the horns of a dilemma. That's how you cut through. You're not sitting there deciding what decision to make that you'll be okay. Work on being okay, and you're going to find out life's a lot easier. You don't have to be picking what will make me be okay now that I made myself not okay. That's the bottom line. So it's not that you're going to your mind to figure out what you think will make you be okay, and you do it by thinking. That's how you do it. You're sitting there trying to figure out what will make you feel okay. Why? Because you're not okay. That's the bottom line. You're not okay. And so you have to figure out what will make you be okay. That's why decisions are difficult. It's the bottom line of all of it. How do I figure out what will compensate for these blockages I have? But you don't think of it that way. You think that the world is actually making you be that way. The world has the energy and it's giving it to you. No. The world is hitting your blockages, and if they open, you're feeling your energy. If they close, you're not feeling your energy. And that is the most important thing you'll ever learn in life. It's all inside of you. You did all of this. And so what's the solution? The solution is very simple. Get rid of your blockages. That's the solution to everything. Let things go. In the Sanctuary of Wisdom, in the cardio-neuro hospital that Chan's built, we worked with the wonderful people there. And Chan's built a Sanctuary of Wisdom. It's really beautiful. You should go visit it. And in it, there's giant pictures of Mother Teresa and Martin Luther King and Gandhi, and beautiful sayings underneath. And Rumi is in there. And the saying under Rumi, I won't get it exactly right, is it says, your task is not to seek love. Your task is to seek and find the obstacles you have put in her place. That is the truth. The only reason you don't feel love all the time, I'm serious, you get to a point where just wave your hand across your heart. Love is going to come pouring through your being as much as you want. Love is not a difficult thing. It's not like I grew up in economics, right? It's not a scarce resource. Your love is not a scarce resource. You have an infinite amount of it. It's flowing all the time, but you have blocked it. You put obstacles in the way of your love. Why? By suppressing, by the fact that somebody said something to you once in junior high school and you got hurt. That's still in there, and you're afraid to open up. You're afraid to talk. You're afraid to say something wrong. So you stored this stuff in there, and now you have to live with that. And living with that means you have to find and do and manipulate and control in order to get events in your life to open you. Well, what if you didn't close? That's what yoga, that's what the great teachings teach you, all the great spiritual teachings. What if you didn't close? So instead of doing all these different things to try and create situations outside that will help you open, why don't you not close? All right, now, can I not close? Can we open up? Can we get rid of this stuff? Which, by the way, I'm tying this back to, you will not have trouble with decisions if you understand you're fine no matter what happens. How you like that? It's because you think you're not going to be fine and you make a wrong decision. If you're fine before you start and you're fine when it happens, you're fine no matter what happens, decisions are fun. It's nothing. It's easy. How do you clean this stuff out? One, the most important, well, first of all, get it straight. You can.
Don't you dare tell me you don't understand what happened to me. Look, we've all been through our stuff. There ain't anyone sitting in here that hasn't been through stuff, okay? You have to sit there and look at it. Yeah, I had stuff. Can you do that? I don't do retreats, but if I did, you'd be saying that. Yes. Mommy was a drunk. Yes, Daddy hit me. But that was 32 years ago, and I don't know why it's still bothering me, and I don't want it to. How you like that? Not, I'll never forgive him, and of course I'm screwed up. Anybody would be. No. If something is not happening anymore, then it's not happening anymore, then it should not be bothering you. If it's bothering you because you clung to it and decided to define yourself as the person that had this terrible experience. So basically, the first thing you have to do is to make the intent, now you're ready to do it, the intent is, I want to clean out. And there's two sides to cleaning out. The first is, I ain't taking on anymore. You know how hard it is? Somebody says one word to you. You close around them. You can never face them again or see them again. You want to move out of the neighborhood. 1 second. Oh my God. They put that stuff in there. It's hard to get out, isn't it? You have to start with the intent. I want to be open. Open is fun. So if open feels good, be open. That doesn't mean you can't deal with difficult things, but you deal with them from a place of openness, not a place of reactiveness. They got me angry. I'm going to do that. No, that's no way to make a decision in business or anything, in relationships or anything. You start with, I can handle this. That's your mantra. I can handle this. I can handle this. Okay, now that I know I can handle it, let me see what the best way to deal with it is. Not, I can't handle it, so every way I'm dealing with it is attempting to make it easier for me to handle. This is spiritual work. This is your spiritual work. I know you meditate. It's good. We do different things. This is what matters. Your everyday, moment-to-moment experiences in life, are you willing to set the intent? I'm going to stay open, and I'm going to let go of the stuff that closes me. All right, so stay open. What does that mean? It means that things are going to happen every day of your life that hit you. They're going to happen. That's going to happen. Something as stupid as the weather. It's raining, and I was going to play golf, or I want to go somewhere and get you all upset. Now, that's ridiculous. You don't have to do that. The driver in front of you is driving slower than you want to go. What are you doing? Getting nuts. Why? You didn't pass him if you can. I'm not saying don't pass him. But if you're driving behind the driver and you can't pass, what's the cost-benefit analysis of getting yourself upset about something you can't do anything about? Nothing. It's 100% cost and zero benefit. Then don't do it. Work with yourself. Don't think it doesn't matter. Every time you close over the rain and over what somebody said and over the driver and over anything. I mean, in the old days we used to talk about a woman got a run in her stockings. Okay, if you get a run in your stockings, just wherever you are, just stand there in a parking lot and look up toward the sun. And remember, 1.3 million of these little planets fit inside that sun. And I got a run in my stocking. Do that with everything. And you'll find out you can let it go. You can let it go. It's not a big deal. Most things are not a big deal. And so you start working with yourself. If you will work with yourself with the everyday tiny little things that you get yourself all upset about, you won't be as upset. And you won't have stored them inside of you so that they bother you later. Okay, that's a start. Now, what about the stuff that's already in there? Because there's a lot of stuff already in there. I am telling you, and the funny part about it, I don't need to tell you because you know, it will come up by itself. You do not have to go fishing. You don't need to figure out, what should I be letting go of? It will let you know. It just comes up and bothers you, doesn't it? You're driving down the street and all of a sudden you're thinking about what happened when you're 5 years old. When somebody says something, and you tie it back to this, to that, it comes up by itself. Why? Because it's trying to cleanse. That's one of the deepest parts of the new book. Just like your body has an immune system, it's always trying to cleanse bacteria and viruses and different things inside. Doesn't mean it's perfect at it, but it's trying to cleanse. Your mind is way higher than your body. Your body's intelligence is wonderful. It's awesome. Your mind is brilliant. Your mind is genius. You flew to the moon, for God's sakes. Give me a break. You split the atom. You're brilliant. That mind is trying to be healthy. Right now you think your mind's a problem. It's trying to be healthy. That's why it's throwing this stuff back up. You stored all your problems in there. It doesn't want them in there. It wants to feel health. It wants to feel sharp. It wants to feel on. It wants to feel inspired and ready to go all the time. And so it has to get rid of that stuff. And that's why it keeps coming back up. Take a shower. Watch what the mind's doing. Brings back what do I do about that? What do I do? How do I meditate to make it stop? Enjoy and appreciate and be thankful that your mind is trying to throw out of its face, out of the energy flow, that which is blocking your health. Be grateful for it. If the mind starts complaining, why did she have to do this? She's talking about something 15 years ago. Pranam to it. Say, oh mind, you are welcome to cleanse. Just throw it up, I'll let it go. I wasn't able to let it go when it happened, but I'm able to let it go now because I've been meditating or doing mantra or working on myself, whatever it is. I'm stronger now. I can let it go. That's how you deal with the mind. In other words, I don't want you to try and stop your mind. Your mind is like trying to stop your immune system. Well, people do that. There's a certain amount of temperature that when it goes up, it's because the body's killing bacteria. It's a healthy thing that the temperature reacts when you get an infection to a degree. So the mind is throwing, I want you to see that this stuff mind is trying to get rid of this garbage that you have stored in there. It's not evil. The mind's not trying to hurt you. The mind's trying to cleanse, but you won't let it. It comes up, you push it right back down. Somebody says something during a conversation, hit your stuff. And have you heard the expression, hit your stuff? I didn't make up those words. Those words you all use. It does indeed hit your stuff. This is the stuff it's hitting. And it hits it. Can you be centered and strong enough? Not strong power, but it's wise enough. That's a different kind of strength. To sit there and say, I don't want this stuff in me. Can you handle that which you couldn't handle before? I understand you were little, you weren't able to do it. You had a bad time, relationship, something like that. But now it's over. It's not happening. But you still stored that stuff. Look how people are about their exes. We got divorced 10 years ago. Yeah, do you ever think about it? No, I can't stand him. I burned all the pictures and everything like that. I can't go to that restaurant. Why? We used to go there. You didn't get divorced. You got divorced outside, but it's still causing you trouble inside. Let go. Let go. Be willing to let go. When stuff comes up, be appreciative. Take a breath. Offer it up. You want to offer it to God? That's fine. You want to offer it to the universe? That's what I do, right? It's like the universe is so big and you're having this problem that happened 15 years ago. And you're tiny. How little are you? Oh my God. Dare to look at it that way. And then keep challenging yourself to let go. It can all go. It can all go. And you don't have to wait for it to all go. Every time you let go, remember I said Freud worked for people and they had this psychological breakthrough? It doesn't have to be a big thing like that. Just little things. Just keep letting go. Daily things, don't take more on. Do the work. And then inside when stuff comes up, I dare you. The heart hurts. The mind makes noise. That's the mind cleansing. I want you to see every time it's the mind cleansing. If somebody hurts you heart-wise, somebody leaves you, you love somebody and somebody leaves you, the heart is going to hurt. Why? Because it has to go through the rearrangements of releasing all this stuff that got built in there in the relationship. Then welcome it. It's cleansing. Call it cleansing. Don't call it pain. Call it a release. Women go through childbirth. I hear it's difficult. It hurts. Some even go back for seconds and thirds. Hard to believe. Why? This is the birth of your soul. You're birthing the greatness of your being to be willing to go through these pains, these different changes inside. The main point is you know what happens if you suppress it. We all know that. Then don't do it. How? You practice. I'm not going to go any deeper tonight. The book goes into all this stuff, the new book. You practice. There's all kinds of things you can do. The highest thing you can do is relax. What do you mean? You're driving, someone's driving 10 miles an hour below the speed limit in front of you, you're in a rush, relax. I can't relax. I understand your mind's not going to relax, your body's going to relax. You relax. You in there, the consciousness, the awareness of being. Be a centered being. It does no good to get uptight. Just relax. Relax your shoulders, relax your tummy, but more important, relax your heart. Just relax. You can't get tense when you're relaxed. It's judo. So relax, and you're going to find out this stuff will pass. It'll go through. It'll hurt. It'll be something a little bit. It'll pass through. The next thing you know, you're a more centered being. You're more clear. You're more open. You don't have any problems. Then what's going to happen, the stuff that was already down there is going to start to come up. You're going to see what your mind's doing. It's trying to cleanse this stuff. It just comes up. Welcome it. Welcome it. I even use the word worship it. Thank you. You're helping me go to God. You're helping me be a greater being. I can handle this. That's your mantra. I can handle this. You can take a spiritual mantra if you want. But you want a high mantra? You're not into spirituality, religion, this or that, or any yogi stuff, right? I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. Get that going on in a layer of your mind. And then when things take place, that's what I want to hear. I can handle this. And the first thing you do is relax. And it will come up and it will hurt. If it's stored with the pain, it's going to come up with pain. So what? So what? It's worth it. And over time, not much time, doesn't take that much, you can start to feel higher. You start to feel more open. You start to feel more love, more joy for your job, for your life, for your spouse, for your whatever. The only reason you don't feel love is you're closed. Love is a natural state of your being. Inspiration. It's not I have to find a job that turns me on. That's what all the life coaches are teaching everybody. Find a job you're passionate about. You should be passionate about everything. You should be passionate about every single moment of your life. If a roach is running across the floor and you have to catch it, it should be fun. And if you don't get it, have fun. We'll get it next time. In my bed or whatever it is. Just have fun and you will be passionate about everything. It's such a beautiful life and you're messing it up by saying, I can't handle this. And then you're trying to compensate for the fact that you blocked yourself by making situations be a certain way. So that's as far as I'm going. All right? Work on yourself. You're spending all this time working on everybody else and working on every situation. I'm telling you, doing that, personal things. In business, you should do your business. But personal things, it's all about I'm closed and I need things to open me. And that's why your relationships are impossible. Because of course something new opens you. Of course something that turns you on. It's not going to stay that way. It's because it's new. It's because it's exciting. And then it's not exciting. And then it's, trying to pay the mortgage together. And you got all kinds of problems. You can't do it that way. You do it by cleansing yourself until you're absolutely open about everything. And then you'll see that life has a flow to it. It does. It's hard for me to stop, but I'm going to. Life has a flow. My mind thinks like this. I'm sorry. Right? What do you know about the DNA molecule? That's no serious stuff, isn't it? Come on, man. How long did it take us to decode the genome? That's not making the genome. That's decoding the genome. What made the genome? What made the DNA molecule that has the full capability? Any one of your DNA molecules has the ability to make every single type of cell within your body. It's not that a liver cell can make a liver cell. A liver cell's DNA can make any cell within the body. It's just those genes aren't turned on. Oh my God. What made that? What made it? Well, I don't know. These atoms were built inside the stars through fusion, and then they exploded, and then they put themselves together through the exact charge of electromagnetism, and by the time it was all said and done, there was this DNA molecule. Uh-oh. You mean life knows what it's doing? You don't have to blame it on God. To me, God, science, same thing. You know what they are? Not you. You didn't do that. The human mind did not build the DNA molecule. It got built naturally out of the natural forces of creation. Oh my God. And no scientist would argue with that. Just don't put the word God on top of the natural forces of creation. The scientist says, oh, of course that's what happened. That happened by itself? Well, guess what? It's all happening. It's all unfolding. And you can work with it instead of fight with it. If you don't have to make it be the way you need it to be so that you will open, you will find out it's amazing. There's this planet spinning in the middle of nowheres, and there's trees and everything made itself. And the next thing you know, you're blown away about everything. Now you're not going to have any problem with decisions, not any problem with your life, not any problem with anything. All right. There's your task. Should you choose to accept it? Jai Gurudev.